Super J and Mad Mike, welcome you guys to another kick-ass video, as always, on our Wrestle Cave YouTube channel. This time, we're trying to bring you guys another generation of professional wrestling. This time, from the WWF, from the years 1982 through 1989. It was a time where wrestling consisted of really two promotions, big promotions, the NWA and also WCW. They were fighting together for supremacy, and Vince McMahon started to lead with Hulk Hogan and take it over officially with the pay-per-view business. Vince McMahon, along with Hulk Hogan, revolutionized the wrestling industry in the 1980s, and they never looked back. They made wrestling into what it is today. Not necessarily everything it is today, but you have to know that without Vince McMahon and the WWF in the 1980s, sports entertainment would not be what it is today. But here we go, one of the coolest generations of professional wrestling. You had superstars in the back there, as you can see from the left, starting with Andre the Giant. Right there with his blue singlet and the crazy eyes. You also had the big man, Big John Studd, right next to him. Was a very big man. Right in front of him, you had Mr. Perfect. He was Intercontinental Champion late in the 1980s and the early 1990s. Eventually went to WCW, had a great career. Right next to him, you have Bobby the Brain Heenan. He was without a doubt the best manager and the most well-known in professional wrestling in the 1980s. Bobby the Brain Heenan started what was known as the Heenan family, the first big heel group in the 1980s, where Bobby the Brain Heenan fought mostly all the good baby faces, good guys in the WWF at the time. Hulk Hogan, the Macho Man, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, the list continues. Continues. Right in the back there with the Hot Rod t-shirt and the kilt, you've got Rowdy Roddy Piper. Rowdy Roddy Piper main evented the first WrestleMania, along with Mr. T, Hulk Hogan, and Cowboy Bob Orton. Right here you've got Bruno Sammartino with the really cool hair and the hairy arms. Bruno Sammartino was like the biggest WWF champion at the time, shortly before Hulk Hogan took the mantle as the man in WWF. Bruno Sammartino was champion for like 4 or 5 years straight. A great champion in professional wrestling at the time. Without a doubt, the most well-known in upstate New York. Next to him in the back, we've got the Iron Sheik. The Iron Sheik was one of the biggest bad guys at the time. The Iron Sheik came out with these pointy shoes, as you can see down there, pointy boots. He had a whole Middle Eastern theme, and he fought such great good guys like Hulk Hogan. Iron Sheik actually passed the torch to Hulk Hogan when Hulk Hogan won his first WWF championship when he defeated the Iron Sheik at Madison Square Garden. Right next to him in the back, we've got Jimmy Superfly Snuka. Jimmy Superfly Snuka was most well known for his dive off the cage where Mick Foley, Mankind, was there live in the 1980s. Mick Foley calls it his inspiration into being a professional wrestler. Jimmy the Superfly Snuka stayed in professional wrestling all the way through the early 90s. He was actually The Undertaker's first opponent at WrestleMania, in WrestleMania 7 in 1991. Right there in the back, you've also got Ricky the Dragon Steamboat with his red headband and the black hair and the white pants. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat had the famous matchup with Macho Man Randy Savage at WrestleMania 3. It was for the Intercontinental Championship. That main event that night was Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant, but everybody there live and forever will be known as the match that stole the show was Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Macho Man Randy Savage for the Intercontinental title. Right next to him, we've got the Junkyard Dog with his dog collar on and his white pants with JYD on the side. The Junkyard Dog was a good guy, never really won a major title in the WWF, but he certainly was a good character and beloved. In the early 1990s, he went to WCW and had a short run for a few years there. Right next to him, we've got Tito Santana. Tito Santana started out his career in the WWF in the 1980s. He was actually a member of the Strike Force Tag Team Champions with Rick Martel. the Strike Force actually lost their tag team titles to Demolition at WrestleMania 4, when Rick Martel turned on Tito Santana and broke the Strike Force up. Both guys continued to have singles careers in the WWF for many years after. Right next to him, we've got Paul Orndorff, Mr. Wonderful. Mr. Wonderful was obviously one of the greatest heels in the history of the wrestling business. He fought guys like Hulk Hogan and other great good guys in the WWF and other companies. He was the genetic freak at the time in the WWF. He had the greatest physique in all of professional wrestling. Right in front of him, we have some of the greatest tag team champions of all time. We have Demolition. We have on the far right, we have Demolition member Smash. In the middle, we have Demolition member Crush, who joined the group shortly after the early 1990s. Right next to him, we have Demolition member Axe. Axe and Smash, who are holding the titles, were actually the first two members to start Demolition. And eventually, Crush was brought in for an add-in. I think Axe of the Demolition was starting to get older. They didn't want to get rid of the tag team WWF, so they added one more member, and that was Crush. Crush ended up having a big-time singles career in the WWF and WCW. He was obviously a very large man, 7 foot, 300 pounds, could fight everybody. Obviously put a lot of young, good guys over. Right here, we've got the Mega Powers. We've got Hulk Hogan in the yellow and red on the left with the Hulkamania t-shirt. Hulk Hogan, obviously the biggest name in the history of professional wrestling. Right next to him, we've got the Macho Man Randy Savage donning the yellow sunglasses and the World Championship of the WWF in the 80s. The Macho Man won a WWF Championship tournament at WrestleMania 4. It was a 16-man tournament, and it was one of the biggest nights in wrestling history. A lot of people expected Hulk Hogan to win, but Hulk Hogan actually fought Andre the Giant in the second round, and both men got disqualified. The main event of the evening for the WWF Championship, the end of the tournament, featured Macho Man Randy Savage and Ted DiBiase Jr. Ted DiBiase Sr. Macho Man Randy Savage, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, had a big-time career in WWF as a main eventer, WWF champion, also went to WCW, several-time WCW champion, and member of the New World Order. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. You have WWF with some of the coolest wrestlers in action figure form by Mattel from the years 1982 through 1989. Check out all the other videos that we have of all the different wrestling eras and different wrestling promotions. We try to bring you guys the coolest videos, give you a little bit of history and a little bit of music. So thanks for coming aboard the Wrestle Cave. Please like, comment, tell us what you guys think about the shelf, what you think about the figures, and particularly the WWF in the 1980s. Who was your favorite wrestler and on? Thanks again for being a part of the Wrestle Cave. Also, subscribe if you haven't. That just means that when we make any videos, they're going to get sent right to you. So thanks a lot for watching. Peace out.